The hottest takes in the Big Ten. Can Purdue win more than 3 games in their first year? And some big questions around spring football. That's all today, right here on the Locked On Big Ten Squad.
You're talking ball with the Big Ten Squad, sponsored by Game Time. From USC to Ohio State, from Michigan to Oregon, from Nebraska to Washington, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big Ten weekend. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up, you're part of the Big Ten Squad.
Back on a Thursday, the way it's supposed to be. I'm Spencer McLaughlin, your host. Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers is here. Zach Anderson Yaksheimer of Locked On UCLA. Trent Condon of Locked On Hawkeyes making an appearance. Jay Stevens of Locked On Buckeyes. We are your Big Ten Squad today. We'll give you hot takes. Can Purdue avoid being the worst team in the Big Ten? I wonder what Jacob thinks about that. We'll get those thoughts later on today's show and more. But Goins, I'll start with you, even though I don't take joy in starting you off for the audience out there, but it's the way it looks on YouTube to be the most correct, so we'll just have to run with it here. Give me your hottest take on the Big Ten. It can be about a player, a team, a coach. It can't be your own. Your hottest take is what?
I think it's finally over for PJ Fleck in Minnesota. I think there's finally decided to move on from this. He was 8-5 a year ago, 5-4 in the Big Ten. Yes, he made a bowl game when he wasn't supposed to, but he does that every other year, but they haven't moved up the needle at all. They haven't moved up the ladder. And I get it. It's Minnesota. But in today's era, if you get just a little bit of money and a little bit of momentum, you can be successful in college football. He's been there long enough. I think it is finally done for him at Minnesota. That's my hot take is Minnesota's a bad team. He's going to be let go, and they're going to finally move on from whatever that era was there.
What does flaming out to fire PJ Fleck look like? Because, I mean, frankly, for being at a program that's middle of the pack at best consistently in the Big Ten, like lower of the lower part of tier 2 to the upper part of tier 3, he wins a pretty good number of football games. So you think they just flatline and go 2-10 this year, a la Florida State, and Minnesota says, all right, we're done?
Something like that. Yeah, 3, maybe 4 wins, if that. And I think they finally just decide whether they're correct or not. People can debate this, but they will at least have the conversation of we can be better and we can shoot for bigger things. And if it works out for them, great. If not, then everybody will point and laugh. But I think that conversation is had, and I think they're done with it in Minnesota.
Zach Anderson Yaksheimer, Locked On UCLA. I'm debating whether to implement a rule in real time as host and neutral arbiter of college football, of course, that you can't make your hot take about USC, but this is entertainment. So make it about anybody that's not UCLA.
Ooh, I was going to stick away from USC hate right now because, that's easy to do, and I do that all the time. I'm going to do something that you won't like. I think Washington's going to be that, not first tier, but second tier of Big Ten contenders that could flirt with top 25 into the 12th spot of the CFP next year in year 2 of Jed Fish.
The one time Roman Tomashoff isn't here to tape the show, he'd be waving purple pom-poms up in the air, being like, Zach's the man! He's all know it. So what is it about Washington that makes you think that? Their win total at FanDuel, by the way, which we'll debate one day here on the show, is 7.5. So the odds makers don't think the Huskies stink. Last year it was 6.5, and they went a half game under that at 6-6. So where does your confidence stem from with Jed Fish?
I just think he took a pretty awful Arizona program and made them competitive real quick. I think with the resources at Washington, he can do the same thing in year 2. They'll have a young quarterback, and I just think that they showed promise in year 1. All these newcomers from the West Coast will be in year 2 in the Big Ten. They know what to expect. And I think that's one of those teams. I was maybe thinking Illinois to take that next step and maybe flirt with the 12 spot. Let's get crazy. It's hot takes. We know Illinois was there competing last year. We're going Washington, and why not just tick off Spencer a little bit?
I don't know why that would tick me off. I am neutral arbiter of all things college football. I have no biases in any direction in favor of or against a particular team. Trent Condon has made an appearance, unlike the Iowa offense, regularly during the football season.
What is this? What is this? We doubled our point total a year ago. We still were inept at the quarterback position.
Doubled it to what, 8 per game?
28 points per contest.
Whoa!
Yeah.
What's a college football average?
Yeah. Duck Boy over there. You better be ready come November because a lot better programs have come into Kinnick Stadium at night and they have walked away with their tails between their legs. So you knock it off, you get ready. It is a new look Iowa offense coming in.
Please let Iowa beat Oregon. Please let Iowa beat Oregon.
I'm terrified. I'm terrified for the Oregon fans out there who I have no affiliation towards. I'm I'm looking out for their own best interest for no real reason. But Trent, your hot take on the Big Ten that doesn't involve Iowa's what?
Well, I got a first Jacob absolutely knocked it out of the park. So as you guys know, we play for the best trophy in sports with Floyd of Rosedale, the Bronze Pig with Iowa and Minnesota. And Philip John Fleck is one of my least favorite people, maybe in college football history. I mean, this guy is an absolute clown. To see him go down in flames would be absolutely beautiful. Jacob, I hope you're spot on. I'm going to go to another one of our rivals, though. We play not for a pig in this one. We play for a bull against Wisconsin every single year. And I will tell you what, this is going to be the last time we're going to see Luke Fickell on the sideline playing for a bull. It's over. He made a disastrous decision to go to Wisconsin and try to bring them to the 21st century with a completely new offense. It doesn't work. For us in the upper Midwest, there is a certain way that you have to win. Wisconsin is learning the wrong way. Hopefully my Iowa Hawkeyes, when they make a change, they won't have to do it. It's over. Luke Fickell will be fired after 2025.
Back-to-back seasons missing a bowl game when they hadn't missed one since 2000. I think that could do the trick. Now, your lack of faith in Luke Fickell is a different matter of sorts. But all it takes...
That was so
Kick him out. Kick him out, Brandon. Get him out. Leave. Yes. There we go. Okay, you can bring it back now. He learned his lesson. I'm actually kidding. I love a good pun, and I think that was solid. I'll give that a solid C+. I'm a tough grader, so that's slightly above average there. But Jay, will go to you, and then I'll give my my hot take in the Big Ten. Yours is what? Not concerning Ohio State.
Since Zach didn't go with USC, I have no problem going down to Southern California. I think this is Lincoln Riley's last year at USC. And I don't think he's going to get fired. I think he's going to go to the NFL, be an offensive coordinator, and go away from the mess of college football. I just don't think, with the way things are right now at USC, yeah, they might be a little bit better, but I don't think he can handle the seasons back to back to back like they are going to be. And I think this is his last year. Go to the NFL, make $5 or $6 million. You probably won't make Chip Kelly money, but I do think he can go to the NFL, be an offensive coordinator, and be there the rest of his career. I just don't think he's made for the struggles he's had right now in Southern California.
Do we think he could be a coordinator in college football, or he would be a coordinator in college football, or you're just saying to heck with that? He
seems young to abandon coaching already. Like Chip Kelly was a head coach. Well, right.
But that's good, but he bolted earlier, actually.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah. Chip Kelly was a head coach for 4 years at Oregon, for several years in the NFL, and then at UCLA, and then he said, all right, I just want to do the coaching part. I don't feel like Lincoln Riley's burned out yet. Not with the way that they're, trying to up their recruiting efforts and doing so successfully again. I see where your head's at. I don't think they would go there. But Lincoln Riley of the NFL. I would like to remind the comment section, by the way, this segment is called Hot Takes in the Big Ten. Hot, not cold, not dull, not dry, hot takes. Mine goes something like this, and I want you guys' thoughts to wrap this segment. Penn State should be the favorite to win the Big Ten this year.
Why? They get a new coach? They get a new coach?
No, they didn't get a new coach, but guess what? Their biggest. I don't even know how hot this take is. Their biggest competitors in the odds market to win the Big Ten, or just what people probably will end up predicting with the Big Ten championship race, are losing huge swaths of players. Jay, I'm right. And yes, I talked to this guy who's really good looking and good at his job, by the way, who told me that Oregon's also losing a ton. Oregon's 105th in the country in returning production. Penn State is, I'm pretty sure, in the top 10. They should be. They don't have Oregon on their schedule. I don't believe they have Michigan on their schedule either. Yes, there's the Ohio State game, but they could lose that one and still get there. They should be the favorite to win the Big Ten.
So the exact same thing as last year.
No one would have favored them last year. I wouldn't have made that argument.
Get to the Big Ten championship game.
Spencer, take it a step further. You're saying they should be the favorite. Do they win the Big Ten? Double down on your hot take. Does Penn State win the Big Ten?
Can I watch them play like 2 games first?
No.
We all have the same rules.
Nope.
Just because you're the host and neutral arbiter doesn't mean you get to make asinine.
We're getting close to the 10-minute mark, and that's where the segment usually wraps up.
Come on.
They should be the favorite.
Boo.
That's what I think. That's my hot.
God, I
see,
remember-
Trent, what you said is just sitting in the back of my mind right now.
It's tough.
This is
isn't
like,
it, tough
did
boy?
they get a new coach?
Duck boy.
Did they get a new coach? No. Everybody breaks through at some point, though.
Some don't.
All right, let's come back to that in the next Locked On Big Ten squad. I wasn't ready for that. Okay, so Purdue right now, according to the odds makers, is the worst team in the Big Ten. Let's try and find a worse team in the Big Ten. Right after you all find a 5-hour energy daylight savings snuck up on us again. And if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5-hour energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work, that's what I'm usually doing, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5-hour energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. Extra daylight, extra activities, that's all great, but sometimes you need a boost. When we do these squad shows, I need a 5-hour energy shot just to put up with these guys and keep myself going. But you can get one basically anywhere that you want because you can head to 5hourenergy.com, find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. And if you need one now, grab a 5-hour energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized with 5-hour energy. All right, so if you just looked at our friends at FanDuel and you perused the win totals, Purdue's the worst team in the Big Ten in 2025. You've got Barry Odom coming over from UNLV, inheriting a 1-11 team from the year before, and I don't know if he's got a Deion Sanders level turnaround in him where he wins his first 3 games and stuns the world. And it'd be a stunner if they started 3-0, because that third win would be against USC. It's in West Lafayette. They'll probably be 2-0, but I'll start with Jacob Goins on this one. Now I actually want to, because I could think of no better neutral, unbiased commentator about the Purdue Boilermakers football program than Jacob Goins of Locked On Hoosiers. So the win total, Jacob, is 3.5. And unlike what I did earlier on today's show, we're all going to have to take a side here.
Yeah, I'm sure you won't. That's okay. We'll go ahead. I will.
3.5, Jacob. Over, under for the Boilermakers.
It's just such an embarrassing win total right now because Purdue, you feel like, is better than that as a brand, but they just don't have the talent right now to compete. And look, Indiana's been there, man. I'm speaking from pain, from past pain. Okay, we've been there. You just feel like you have nothing, not a whole lot of excitement if your win total is 3.5. I mean, if you exceed expectations, you're still 2 games below a bowl game eligibility. Like, I don't know, man. They'll be 2-0. They might beat USC because, you know, it's USC, whatever. But then you've got – you're welcome, Zach.
Zach's loving it. Somewhere Mark Culkin is frowning. Well, he's always frowning. Somewhere he is yelling at you.
Practice from USC.
Talking about Rose Bowl wins is what USC does. I look at their schedule over here, okay? At Notre Dame, loss. At Michigan later in the season, loss. They host Ohio State. They go to Washington. Then they come home and play Indiana. The only games I see that are winnable here are at Minnesota and at Northwestern. They're 2 easiest games, but they're on the road. I want to give them credit, but I really don't at the same time. Purdue goes under. They'll get 3 wins, maybe, and it's going to be another disastrous season for the Boilermakers, and I'm really upset about it.
Yes, I can tell you're heartbroken for those in West Lafayette. Jay Stevens, Locked On Buckeyes, Boilermakers over under 3.5 wins.
Got to go under, and I hate saying that because I really hope Barry Odom does things that are good for Purdue's football program and turns things around a whole lot quicker than Jacob and I think he's going to. It's just not looking right for them, and it's tough. You're coming in right now when things are really bad. Your good players you got, they're not there anymore. I just don't have a lot of faith that they'll be able to win some of those winnable games, even though they're on the road. I don't think they'll be able to dig deep and do what's needed to win those games. And yeah, they'll be 3-9. What, they win one game last year? That's definitely an improvement. But 3 wins still sucks. And I don't know another way to put it. It sucks for the Purdue Boilermakers.
And yet it would be a 200% increase from the prior year. And you make that sort of sales pitch in a boardroom, we're going up by 200% year over year growth. That's progress. But Trent, can they even get to 3 wins? Because, the winnable stretch, quote unquote, of games in their Big Ten schedule, it's not an easy Big Ten schedule. It's got 2 road games on it in 2 consecutive weeks against teams that I don't know that Northwestern's going to be great, but Minnesota is respectable, and you got to go to Northwestern. That's a sicko game is what that is.
Well, you think about it, and that means you got to win both of those games. Realistically, win both of those games to hit the over. Yeah. Even if you're giving them wins against Ball State and Southern Illinois, I think it's a stretch. I like Barry Odom. He was a little bit of a joke, and remember, this is a guy that got a head coaching job in Missouri when he was 39 years old. I mean, he got a job before he was ready to get the job. You saw the growth that he had at UNLV, and I think he is going to be a good fit for Purdue. But in year number 1, it's not about wins on the field. It's about growth as a program, and even if that is 1, 2, 3 wins in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't matter. It's about laying the groundwork and having an opportunity going forward to build on it. I just don't think it matters really what happens here. Let's make a little money and just go the under.
Zach?
Well, let's be spicy. I'm continuing my hot takes in the segment 2.
Oh, no.
I think they get to 4.
Wow.
That makes 2 of us, by the way. I'll explain after you.
Of course, Ball State, Southern Illinois. Of course, our argument, Spencer, is null and void if they don't win those 2 games, and we'll look like fools. But if we assume they go 2-0, this is where I'm thinking. Of course, the Minnesota game's tricky. I think Northwestern plays in a stadium that holds 200 people. I forget. They're still playing in that small stadium this year, correct? One more year before they build their new stadium.
I believe that's correct.
Even if it's wrong, it's not like it's an intimidating atmosphere at the moment at Northwestern.
It shows you the brand power of Northwestern to keep them in everybody's minds. But yeah, anyway, keep going.
Here's the thing. I think they can steal that home game against Rutgers. It's in between a Michigan game and Ohio State game. That's one of those games where it's like, I never really thought Rutgers they were world beaters last year. You play that game at home, maybe they steal a win against Northwestern, let's go prove everybody wrong and get that 4th win. That would be a great, great first year if they get to 4 wins for Purdue. I think that Northwestern Rutgers game back-to-back, that's crucial for Purdue to get above that win total.
Yeah, so I'm with you there, Zach, because I know Barry Odom's a really good coach. And UNLV, you talk about tough places to win. Purdue's an easier place to win than UNLV, historically. You look at the track record of the program in the decades leading up to when Barry Odom took it over, and all of a sudden, I'm talking over in Locked On College Football about them regularly with regards to the playoff and the Mountain West Championship game. They were a game away from the playoff last year. So as an in-game coach, I know he's good. As a program builder, I think he's pretty darn good. They're bringing in a bunch of new players, of course, but are they going to have a top roster in the Big Ten? No, they're not. They're going to have to out-coach, out-scheme someone who's having a bad day, and it's going to come down to that 3-game stretch because USC, Notre Dame, Illinois, yeah, you have USC, Illinois at home. They're just going to be too far behind them. Minnesota, Northwestern, Rutgers, you need to win, obviously, at least one of those games because at Michigan, host Ohio State, at Washington, I think you're 0 for 3 right there. Goins, you might want to plug your ears, but a first-year head coach against an Indiana team that's not going to be as good as they were last year. Last week of the regular season, the Hoosiers could be banged up. Purdue's going to be playing with house money. They've got the game at home. I think between those,
let's go to Purdue.
Those 4,
Western, it'll be an 11 a.m. game. Indiana will be favored by 25, and they'll win by 32. Okay, Purdue sucks. Indiana will win by a lot.
Yeah, but see, Purdue sucked last year. Barry Odom, we don't know yet. We don't know. I'm just throwing out. I'm with Anderson Yaksheimer on this one. Every year, when you look at these win totals, you look at the teams at the bottom, and you talk yourself into they're not any good. They can't do it. He's going to be looking for that one signature win that defines his first season, that ignites a spark inside the fan base, and there's no better opportunity to do it than rivalry week. Watch out. Watch out, Goins. We'll see if I eat my words come the fall. We still have one more segment to go here on the Big Ten Squad. We're going to fly around to everyone and look at what the biggest questions are, because there's some pretty major questions. Jay Stevens with a quarterback battle. That and more coming up next. But first, this episode brought to you by FanDuel. March Madness is here. FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the net. Staying in the action with tournament games happening all the time is what FanDuel allows you to do. There's always something exciting to bet on for the Final Four this weekend. Plus, if you want to bet college football, as we have been discussing for the past 10 minutes here on the show, you can do that. You've got win totals, you've got Heisman odds, you've got national title odds, conference championship odds. It's all over there at FanDuel.com. Visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. And don't forget, you can bet all sorts of stuff, including individual game lines for college football right here, right now for the 2025 season, which inches closer every day. FanDuel.com. Go check them out at FanDuel.com. All right, Jay, I want to start with you because you probably have the biggest question as the reigning national champions who right now, if you rolled out and played a football game, you'd be starting who at quarterback?
Julian Sayin. He's the guy. There's no thought in my mind it'll be anybody else at all, even if Ryan Day decides to go to the portal. When the spring portal opens up, I don't think there's going to be a guy in the portal that's going to be there, and Ryan Day is going to say, we're going to bring him in the spring, after spring practice, roll into fall camp, and he's going to be QB1. I don't think that's going to happen. It's Julian Sayin. He's the most talented quarterback. He is the best quarterback there. He's going through spring practice and doing some good things, but also doing some things pretty bad. But also, it's a learning period for him. That's the biggest question. Does Ohio State get the quarterback position right? Well, I think Sayin's a guy. Does he get prepared properly right now to win the fall? We don't know. We're going to find out a lot about him against Texas week 1. We're going to find out a whole lot more about him as you dive deeper into the Big Ten schedule. But Sayin's a quarterback. He's going to be QB1. It's kind of weird. He's a year 2 guy that I don't really like going that route, especially when there's nobody else there that has any experience. But that's what Ryan Day has right now. When Sayin's a quarterback, he's going to win the job. And I look forward to seeing what he does in the fall.
Friendly reminder, Ohio State, Texas, week 1 at the shoe. Oh, get me to college football, please. And thank you. Goins,
Is there any way that we can get that on NBC so it's a night game? Because I don't want to do a big noon game for that. I don't want to see Ohio State and Texas at 12 noon Eastern at big noon. I love Gus Johnson. I don't want to see that game early. I want it in prime time. Give me Noah Eagle. That's what I want to see.
Who else plays at opening week? That's how deep we've been into basketball. Is I can't even remember.
Florida, Miami.
Gross.
That's a
Or sorry. Hold on. Back up. I'm secretly drunk. I'm not, of course, but my brain is flying around. Miami, Notre Dame.
Ooh.
In Coral Gables.
Ooh.
I don't know how to feel about that. I don't.
Spice level very high. Very high.
Well, thank God it's not Florida. Nobody wants to watch them play, so that's good.
We got Long Island, the Sharks in week 1.
Brandon strikes again.
Week 1, you also have Georgia Tech, Colorado. Interesting game. Baylor, Auburn, random game, but Texas, Ohio State, and Miami, Notre Dame. Yeah, those are the highlight games. Notre Dame, by the way, favored by 2.5 at Miami. But Goins, I want to go to you for Indiana. Your biggest spring question for the Hoosiers is what?
Well, before this week, it was, can the offensive line get up to speed, right? You bring in 3 transfer guys, Pat Coogan being the main one from Notre Dame, but now we're dealing with injuries. This is the first real injury we've had, and it was in the receiver room this week with Tyler Morris, our Michigan transfer wide receiver, who was expected to start somewhere. It was either going to be in the slot outside, wasn't 100% sure, but a non-contact injury, guys. He's out for the year. And so Indiana still brings back your 2 leading receivers from a year ago with Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper, but you were expecting Tyler Morris to be kind of that third guy, and you brought him in as a transfer to fill that spot, and now you got to go get another transfer to fill in for the It's a disaster, but hate to see it. So that's kind of what the question mark is now is, okay, other than Cooper and Surratt. You've got Holden Stays, the Tennessee tight end, but who's going to be kind of that third and fourth guy? There's a lot of them in there. You just want to see somebody emerge. Curious on who Kurt Signetti and the staff goes and gets in the transfer portal. But yeah, it's going to be that receiver room. And can they produce like they did a year ago for Curtis Rourke? Now they got to do it for Fernando Mendoza.
Trent, is your guys' punting situation down there okay at Iowa?
We're fine. We got Reese Dakin coming back after a fine freshman campaign.
See, that's an Iowa thing right there. You got your punter's name right off the top of your head. Everybody else would have to think for a moment and be like, we got the guy, we got the guy. Yeah, that guy. Trent's like, boom, punter. That's my man.
McLaughlin, I cannot wait until November when your Ducks come waddling in.
It's going to be great.
Oh, it is going to be outstanding. But before that, we do have a big question that Iowa needs to figure out, and it's left tackle. So they bring back Logan Jones. He was first team All Big Ten a year ago at center. He was on Bruce Feldman's Freaks list. He could have been an NFL draft pick, 4th, 5th round or something like that. He came back for another year. Right tackle, they have another All Big Ten player in Jennings Dunker, back for another season, a guy that could have gone to the league. The question, though, is on the left tackle spot. They have 2 young guys that are battling, 2 guys that were highly regarded coming out of high school. The most highly regarded was Trevor Lauk. He's still just going to be a redshirt sophomore, though. If they go through the spring and these 15 practices and find out, you know what, these 2 guys aren't ready, they got to go shopping in the portal. And we know left tackle, that's a spot that can get pretty expensive pretty quickly.
Yeah. You think Caden Proctor would be available?
Knock it off.
All right. Zach Anderson. Man, Trent's reminding himself right now why he's not always able to show up to these things.
I need to schedule more work, I think, on Tuesdays.
Yeah. Zach, down there in Los Angeles, across the way from USC, the biggest question for the Bruins is,
what's the defense going to look like? I know they have the new offensive coordinator. They have a lot of quarterbacks. They have one coming in that's the JUCO 25th year guy, and Joey Aguilar. The big question is, can Akai Kamole replicate what he did last year defensively with a whole new guy, a bunch of new guys? They had some guys from last year who are doing pretty well in the NFL Combine. Who can replace the guys in the linebacker room? Carson Swessinger, Kane Medrano. That's a big spot for UCLA to fill in this next season for them to have some production on defense.
Not that anybody here cares, but some of you might care out there listening to or watching this show. I think for Oregon, the biggest question is actually
Hold on. You're going to answer a question we didn't ask you, but you're not going to answer a question we blatantly asked you in the first segment.
Technically speaking, the question was posed to everybody here in the current chat in the show when this segment began.
I think we're running out of time.
Technically speaking, yeah, we still got 2.5 minutes, though. I could run this for 2.5 minutes by myself. I'm not going to do that. But the biggest question for Oregon is actually not Dante Moore. I think he's going to be the starter. That hasn't been confirmed, might not be confirmed for a while. My biggest question is actually Oregon's secondary. They lost 6 guys from last year, and those guys were more than good enough to cover Ohio State's receivers. We saw that twice. I mean, they were already at that level, right? So, who needs to level up?
That was a fun day. That was a really fun day.
Yeah, for some of us, perhaps a little bit more than others, but I don't know that I can remember a year where Oregon or any team lost their top 6 defensive backs who all played a starter's number of snaps last year. Yeah, it's a 5-man defensive backfield in your base personnel, but 6 guys is a lot. So I'm wondering, and that's why Iowa doesn't scare me, because that means Oregon could be exploitable through the air, and, well, I think that statement speaks for itself. So why don't we wrap it there now that Trent wants to kill me? Jay Stevens, Locked on Buckeyes. Zach Anderson Yaksheimer, Locked on UCLA. Jacob Goins, Locked on Hoosiers. Trent Condon, Locked on Hawkeyes, popping into the chat. I'm Spencer McLaughlin of Locked on All Over the Place and whatnot. That's this week for the Big Ten squad. We will see you next time. And until then, hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.